You feel it sometimes. That prickling sense of being watched in an empty room. The flicker of déjà vu that lingers too long. The certainty that reality just stuttered. We tell ourselves it's nerves, coincidence, fatigue. But what if it's not? What if the world has seams, fractures where something else bleeds through? A whisper in static, a shadow that moves when you close your eyes, a door that wasn't there yesterday. Don't ignore the quiet wrongness. It might be ignoring you back.
I still remember the moment I slipped that book into my bag at Ambrose's Antiquarian Books. The way the brass clasp sighed against the leather, as if relieved to be disturbed. I was on my way back from campus, rain-slick cobblestones echoing under my boots. The shop's narrow windows had glowed like lanterns in a storm, beckoning me inside, and there it sat, alone on the highest shelf, its spine unmarked and its presence unbearably urgent. By the time I climbed the 3 flights to my tiny apartment, the book under my arm felt alive, its weight pulling me forward. I flicked on the overhead light. The room was cluttered with textbooks and half-filled coffee mugs, the usual chaos of finals week. Yet when I laid the book on my desk, everything else seemed to recede into shadow. I lit a single candle and, heart thrumming, tried to open it. As I reached for the clasp, the flame guttered, and a breath of cold air curled around my neck. The latch popped shut on its own, hard enough to jar my wrist. A hush fell, and I thought I heard the whisper of parchment, pages stirring within, impatient. My hand froze. I backed away, candlelight shaking across the walls. When I looked again, the book lay motionless, as if asleep. That night, I dreamed of shelves that stretched forever, each book bound in skin and inked with names I recognized. My name, my mother's maiden name, even my childhood nickname. The whispering followed me, low voices begging, "Open me, read me, let me finish the story." I jolted awake, sweat cooling on my arms, to find the book open on my desk. The page bore a single line, written in ink that glowed like dying embers. "You should have let me rest." My breath caught. I snapped the book closed. The next morning, the city felt different, as if someone had turned the eye of the world toward me. At the coffee shop, the barista asked if I was feeling rested, and when I frowned, he looked away with sudden solemnity. On the train, a woman's eyes locked onto mine with unnatural intent. Her lips mouthed the book, though no words left her throat. When I blinked, she sat reading a paper instead. I returned to Ambrose's the following afternoon, determined to learn more. But on that narrow street there was no shop, only a boarded-up door, its sign erased. Even the address number had vanished. My pulse pounded so loudly I could hear it in my ears. I turned in circles, but the block was an ordinary block, full of closed shutters and indifferent passers-by. I needed answers, but found none. That night, I set the book on my bedside table within a circle of salt. I burned sage to cleanse the room, chanting nonsense prayers under my breath. At midnight, I dared to crack the cover. A wind burst through the windows with a howl, extinguishing candles and scattering ash. I staggered back as the pages flipped open to a chapter titled simply, Prologue. Ink spurted across the room, tiny droplets staining the walls and my pajamas like rivulets of black blood. The air pulsed with frantic whispers. You cannot read what lies beyond. I lunged forward and slammed it shut. Silence snapped back. So, complete it felt like drowning. Over the next 3 days, my life unraveled in small horrors. The book moved, once on my kitchen table, once atop the bathroom sink, even once on the seat beside me in class. My phone's wallpaper changed without permission to a sketch of the book's binding, its brass clasp rendered in sharp relief. My reflection in shop windows showed me clutching the book to my chest, face pale, lips parted as though to scream. Each time I tried to rid myself of it, left it on the train, abandoned it in a trash can, it reappeared in my room by dawn, exactly where I'd first found it, pristine and waiting. Then came the night I heard it calling my name. Softly, so quietly I woke before the voice fully formed. I sat up in bed, heart pounding. Emma, it said. My name. The book, open on my desk, had its pages rustling. I forced my legs to move through the fog of sleep, and when I reached the desk, the candlelight revealed words spilling across both pages. I have waited for you. Read me if you dare. I looked away. When I looked back, the words were gone, blank pages mocking me. My eyes stung with unshed tears. I touched the paper to confirm my eyes weren't deceiving me. Cold, smooth, unmarked. Days blurred. I stopped sleeping. My friends called, worried, but I couldn't explain. How could I tell them that a book was hunting me? That each attempt to read it summoned shadows that skittered across walls? That the whispering, now a constant hum behind my thoughts, threatened to drown out my sanity? Finally, on the 6th night, the storm came. Rain pounded the windows, flickering lightning, revealing stark outlines of branches scraping the glass. I sat in the center of the room, candles arranged in a ring. It was time. At 11:59, I laid my hand on the cover. It throbbed, alive. I breathed, "You will not win." At midnight, lightning cracked across the sky, thunder rolling like a drum. I opened it. The book's spine groaned. Pages turned on their own, stopping at chapter 11. I read, "By opening this, you have bound yourself to me. My story is your story, and your story ends here." My throat tightened. The candles flickered, shadows pooling at the walls like ink blots growing beyond comprehension. I heard footsteps behind me, soft, deliberate, pacing. I dared not turn. The words on the page shifted beneath my eyes, reforming into a new paragraph. "Look behind you, Emma. My name, again, spelled perfectly." Trembling, I glanced upward. There, just beyond the candlelight, a shape coalesced. Tall, impossibly thin, limbs like twisted drapery. Its face was blank, as though sculpted from bone, and in its eye sockets I saw my own reflection. Horrified, desperate. I gasped. It stretched one lissom hand toward me. I dropped to my knees and clapped the book. Shut. The world snapped black. I heard my own scream, echoed by the whispering in the darkness. "You cannot close the book on me." A moment later, the candles extinguished. The shape dissolved. My apartment was silent except for the storm's dying rain. Trembling, I fumbled for my phone, only to find the screen cracked, displaying a single image. The book, open on my desk, its pages filled with my own worst memories. My first heartbreak, the night I hit a pedestrian with my car, the time I lied to my parents about skipping classes. My stomach churned. I had to see how far this went. I stumbled to the desk, lit another candle, and pried the book open one last time. It opened to chapter final. Blank pages. But in the corner, in the neatest script, "You are here." The candlelight danced over the emptiness. I ran my finger across the page. Ink seeped into my skin, painful and hot. Words bled in. "I have consumed your yesterdays. I have imprisoned your tomorrows. Here, in the moment you read this, you will remain." I dropped to the floor, clutching my head. The whispers now roared, "Stay, stay, stay!" The candle quivered, flame stretching upwards as though alive. Then came a cracking noise, like dry wood breaking. Then the scent of old paper burning. I slammed the book onto the candle. Leather blackened, pages curled. The fire caught, but instead of chaos, all went still. The whispering ceased. My heart's thunder slowed, and for an instant, I felt relief. I exhaled, only to see that the book lay intact, untouched by flame. Its cover bore a new char mark, but otherwise it was flawless. I sank against the desk, tears trailing down my cheeks. I realized then that I wasn't going to tear the book apart. It would not be destroyed. It would not be abandoned. It would not even be read, because it had already read me. At dawn, the storm passed. The city awoke, indifferent. I swept the embers from my desk and sat in the pale light, facing the book as if it were a living thing. My hand hovered above the cover. I wanted to flee, to bury it in the earth, or sell it perhaps, but I knew that was impossible. I was part of it now, and so I begin again. The candle flickers. Midnight approaches. Soon I will open it to see what it has written next. Because despite every warning, every shred of fear, I cannot resist. The book demands the story be told, and I am the only one who can write it. Tonight, I will read. And in reading, I will discover the final secret that lies within these pages. Emma Stanton, June 10th, 2025.